channel. Today I'm going to take you through how to customize, how to design and customize your checkbox like this, HTML and CSS. So I'm going straight to my Visual Studio, whereby I already have the HTML and the CSS file. So I'm starting with the HTML file, whereby I'm going to type here HTML this way, and then in my heading I'm going to create a title. So I'm going to type this, then I'm going to type title this way, whereby here I'm going to type customized. So here I'm inserting letter U. So customized checkbox using HTML and CSS, HTML and CSS this way. Okay, so yeah, after my heading I'm going to type body. So in my body here, so I'm going to insert word here. So in my body here I'm going to get a label. So I'm going to type label here. Then here within my labels here I'm going to insert input. So whereby my type for the input here I'm going to take the checkbox this way. Then I'm going to close it this way. And then I'm going to introduce height tag this way. So we're moving to our CSS file here. I'm starting with the margin and the padding. So margin I'm taking 0 this way. Then for the padding I'm also taking 0. And then for the box sizing I'm taking border box. So not really. So let me undo this. So box sizing I'm taking border box here. And then for my background color here I'm taking, so for background I'm taking RGB 160, 183 and 183 and 184 this way. So I'm going to save my CSS file, and then I'm going also to link my CSS file here to my HTML file to my CSS file. So after my title here I'm going to insert a link, whereby here Control undo this way, whereby I'm going to type style sheet this way, and then here I'm typing href, whereby here I'm going to write the name of my CSS file, whereby I'm having it as style checkbox, style my checkbox, the CSS, so style checkbox the CSS, and then I'm going to close it here. So I'm going to save it again before we move to our browser. So here I'm moving to the folder where I have the file itself. So it's custom checkbox this one. So I'm going to open it. So here is my checkbox. So back to my CSS file, I'm doing more styling on that, whereby I'm moving the body. So in that order I'm done with the starting body of it. So I'm moving the body whereby here for the body styling bar of the body. Here I'm going to start with the display, whereby I'm making it flex. So for the display, I'm taking flex, and then for the content, so I want my content to be displayed as center. So I'm justifying my content as center. So let me undo this first. Okay, so here I'm going to justify the content as center, this way, and then I'm going to align it also the center. Align items so the center. So let me save it. Now I'm going to refresh it again this way. So it's not yet displaying, so I'm going to save my HTML file. Same case the CSS file here, I think. So here I'm going to type body, so I'm adding one here, and I'm going to save it this way. So let me refresh one more to see the new position of our checkbox. So it's already here. So for further styling of my CSS file, I'm taking a minimum height of 100 ph. So minimum height here, I'm taking 100 viewport height here. That's the maximum height. So I'm done with the body. So after my body here, I move the label. So for the label, here I'm going to type label. So starting with the label, I'm going to start with the position, whereby I'm taking relative position. Here I'm taking relative. Then for the width, I'm taking 160 pixels. Okay, and then moving the next, whereby I'm going to take an height of 80 pixels. So that's half of our width. So I'm taking 80 pixels height. Then moving the next, I'm taking a cursor here. The style of my cursor here, I'm taking pointer. So I'm going to save it again. Back to our browser. I'm refreshing. Okay. So more styling here. I'm moving the label input. So that's here in our HTML file. We have label and then we have input. So for input, so I'm typing label input. So for my label input here, I'm going to take my position of my label input is also relative. And then for the set index, I'm taking 1 pixels. Okay, so here I'm taking 1. So let me, for this, I'm taking 1. Okay, this way. And then appearance, taking none. This way. So I'm done with the label input. So moving the next. So after input here, so moving the span. So here I'm supposed to add span here. Span till actually undo. After this, I'm setting span. So I'm going to save my HTML file. Then back to my CSS file here, I'm going to style a span. So label span this way. By here I'm going to take a version. My version here will be absolute. Here I am making absolute this. And then top and left I'm taking 0. then left also, left 0. And then for the width, I'm taking maximum width, which is 100%. This way. Then I'm done with that. I'm moving the height also. I think I'm taking 100%. This way. And for the background here, background here, I'm taking a background. Let me say RGB. So let me take so for red for my background. Then I'm going to make some changes here. Make some adjustment here, something like that. Okay, so to 20, 25, 25. Okay, with this, and then for the border radius here, I'm taking a border radius of 80 pixels. But first, let me save first, and then I'm going to see what's happening in our browser. So I'm going to refresh it again. Okay, so here's our checkbox. So if I remove this appearance here, we'll see a checkbox appearing just above this. So we remove the appearance, so it's here. So I'm going to undo this. So appearance here, I'm placing it none. So, and then for the border radius here, I'm taking a border radius of 80 pixels. And then I'm taking a transition of 0.5 seconds. 0.5 seconds is where. And then for the box shadow, I'm using a box shadow. Box shadow here, I'm going to take 38. So that's RGB 38. Then 0 to 55. Not really. To 55 TV. So RGB novel. So here I'm supposed to use this. So this one is 38. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of this. So instead I'm using the bracket here this way. I'm getting rid of this also. I'm adding that. So this for our second here. So this one is 255. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to save it. Back to my browser. So I need this. So most styling on there. So our shadow is, I'm taking this as our shadow. You're done with the label span. So after label span, I'm going to style on the label input after you check your checkbox. So it's here. To type label input checked. Is it checked? And then this way, so I'm going to add that. Then typing span this way. So style on this, I'm going to take a background here. Okay, skip. So background. For the background here, I'm taking RGB, so I'm going to RGB. 193, and then 9. this way. So for my background, and then for the box shadow, here, I'm taking a box shadow of 0.15 pixels and 25 pixels. And then I'm adding this attribute. So I'm adding this. So I'm going to copy this color here, and I'm going to paste it here. Then I'll get rid of this. So I'm going to save it again. Back to my browser, I'm going to refresh. So as you can see, it's changing to this color when you click on your checkbox. So more styling on that. I'm moving the. So we're done with the label, input and span. So I'm moving to the item here, whereby here I'm going to type label span I this way. For this, I'm going to use operation absolute, and then for the width, I'm taking a width. I'm taking a width of I'm taking a width of 72 pixels. 72 pixels. So I'm adding 7 here. So 72 pixels this way. So I'm done with the width. So I'm with height. So I'm taking a height of 72 pixels also this way. 7 pixels this way. So done with the width and the height, and I'm taking a border radius. So maybe I'm going to save it first before I refresh. So let me refresh it. So more styling on that. So label span. So label span I tower. Then for the border radius here, I'm taking a border radius of 50%. Now that moving the next top. So I'm doing top on the left. So for top, I'm taking 4 pixels, and for the bottom, okay, let me take left. So for the left here, I'm taking also 4 pixels this way. Done with that. So moving the transition, whereby I'm going to take 0.5 seconds. Done with the transition, moving the next my background here. Then a background of RGB 245 241 245 241 2. Let me use 2 here. That's for yellow. So I'm going to save it again. I'm going to refresh label span. So moving back to my HTML file here, I'm going to make some changes here, whereby I'm going to insert this in between the span here. So I'm going to get rid of this. Okay, then here I'm going to insert this, or maybe let me cut this first. So I'm cutting this and I'm going to insert it this way. So it's okay, roll this way. So I'm going to save my table file. Then back to my save my CSS file. Then I'm going to try it again. Okay, so it's now appearing here, as you can see. So I'm going to do further styling, moving to the next. So we are done with the label span I. So I'm moving the next whereby I'm going to style the checkbox. By here I'm going to take label, then input. So for the input checked. So for the checkbox here, I'm going to I'm going to insert this. So for the checked span I. So the span. Okay. So styling of this. So this is okay. Check span. So okay. So here I'm going to use the left. So left, I'm using it for pixels. Here. Control undo. So let me move this first this way. Adding this and then Control. So I'm taking left. By here I'm using it for pixels. So I'm going to save it again. Back to my browser. I'm going to refresh. So as you can see, it's now okay. Moving back to my CSS file. Further styling. I'm moving the label. So I'm going to type label span I. Span I. So that's before. So before I'm talking before. So before you check the box styling on there, I'm going to add content. So for the content here, I'm taking none. Then after content here, my position also taking absolute. The position I'm taking absolute. Then for the top I'm making it 22 pixels. And for the left, I want to take 12 pixels. And done with that, moving the width also I take here. I'm taking 12 pixels also for the width. So done with that, moving to the next by height, making also 12 pixels easy. Then for the border radius, I'm going to take a border radius of 50%. So done with that. Moving the background, for the background here. So for the background, I'm taking RGB 27, 27. Actually, 27. Seven. That way. So done with this. So RGB, so I'm going to insert a blocker here. So in case you point here, then that way. So as the background I'm using here. So then with the background, I'm going to introduce also a box shadow. So for the box shadow here, I'm taking 30 pixels here, 0, 0. Then I'll add RGB. So adding a color here, I'm adding this. So I'm going to copy these values naturally. So I'm adding this here. And I'm getting rid of the brackets, the extra, undo this way. So it's now okay. So I'm going to save it again, and I'm going to refresh. So you can see the two dots appearing. So further styling on this, I'm going to add a transition of. So I'm going to add a transition here of 0.5 seconds. With that. So after this, okay, so I'm done with the label span I, that's before. So I'm moving the next, whereby I'm going to type label, that's label input. So this label input, that's checked. For the checked one, so checked, going to add this, and then I'm going to type span I, so that's before. So the checked one before, not really, before. So I'm taking before here. So styling on that, I'm going to make my content. So here for the background color, starting with the background color, I'm taking RGB this, so I'm taking that one for the green. Then for the box shadow here, I'm going to take RGB, not really, so I'm taking that 1 pixels, 1 pixels, then 0, 0. Then I'm adding a color RGB, which is this. So I'm adding this way here, RGB this way. Then I'm adding these values. So I'm pasting that. And I'm going to get rid of the extra bracket here this way. So it's now okay. So let me save it again. Then back to my browser. I'm going to refresh. So as you can see, we have the box shadow there. So further styling, I'm done with the label input check. That's for before. Moving the next label. We'll type label span I after. So appearance after here. Appearance after, I'm making my content for the content here, I'm taking none this way. So done with that. Moving the position whereby I'm going to make it absolute. Then for the bottom here, I'm going to take 10 pixels this way. And then for the height I'm making height here, I'm making 10 pixels. 10 pixels actually. Not really, let me use 6 pixels for the height. So here I'm using 6 pixels. So let me carry over this. So I'm done with the height. So with the background here, I'm taking RGB maybe 207 this. So I'm taking this for my background. Then I'm getting rid of one okay here. So it's okay. So and then here left, for the left here, I'm going to take calc. That's from 50% to 15 pixels to 15 pixels this way. Okay. So done with that, I'm going to add a transition of 0.5 seconds. 0.5 seconds this way. Then for the border radius, so but before we add that, I'm going to save it first. I'm going to refresh. Let's see the changes here. So back to my, I'm adding a border radius. So let me make my border radius of 6 pixels. So this is supposed to be 6. Yeah. So I'm done with the label span I. That's after, but I'm going to add also a width here. Width. So after, yeah, I'm going to add a width of 30 pixels. 30 pixels away. So I'm going to save it. Then we refresh to see. So as you can see, it's now appearing. It's okay. So we're going to style this after to change the appearance after. So here I'm going to type label input. Label input that's checked. So for the checked here, I'm going to use for the span I. That's for span I after. So this one is after. So styling on this, I'm going to use a background color of, so background here will be, I'm going to use RGB 251, 251, 251, 251. Anyway, that's white. So I'm going to do it. So that's after. We'll refresh it again in my browser and we'll see the changes. So as you can see, this one is changing to white after. This way. So more styling on that. I'm going to add height of 15 pixels, making height 15. So 15 pixels. This way. So let me do it again. I'm going to refresh and we'll see the changes. So the height is increasing. So back, more styling on that. I'm going to add a border radius. So I'm making my border radius 10 pixels. So let me save it. Refreshing again. So as you can see, the border radius now is applied. So I'm done with that. The border radius. So this is supposed to be border radius here, which is okay. Then I'm going to use a bottom for my bottom here. I'm going to use 10 pixels for the bottom. And then for the border bottom, this left radius, I'm going to use something like 15 pixels. So let me save it first. Then I'm going to replay again. So when you click on that, so you can see this. So I want to apply this to both sides of module here. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it here. So it will be a border bottom. So I'm changing this to right. So right here. Let me save it. So it will be applied in both sides. So it's now okay. So making no more changes. I think that's all I have for today. For more, make sure you subscribe.